Hi, I'm Sylvie, not from High Level Bandanas. I just changed my name, so I have to come up with a new intro. But anyway, today we're gonna learn how to make a super quick, super easy dog bandana. All you're gonna need really is just a measuring tape, scissors, either a fabric pen or a marker, and some fabric. The fabric will depend on the size of your dog and the size that you wanna make the bandana, but really this is gonna be probably the easiest pattern that I put up here, and it will be custom made to the size of your dog. So let's just get started. Oh wait, actually one more thing. This is the last video that you will see that is made in this house, which is my parents' house, because I am moving in 2 weeks now, a little less than 2 weeks. And if you've been watching my videos, then you know that the countdown has just been going on and on and on. This is the official last video that I'm filming in this house. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna need to do is just take some measurements here. Grab a tape measure. First, we're gonna wanna measure how wide we want the bandana. So if I want it from here to here, that'll be about 6 inches wide. And then let's see how long you want it to dangle down like this. About 5 inches long. And then the last measurement you'll wanna take is just around your dog's neck. And her neck is about 14 inches around. That's it, thank you. Okay, you can go now. Let's go to the cutting table. Now it's time to actually draft up the pattern. Grab a piece of paper and we're gonna trace out the measurements that we just got. We wanted ours about 6 inches. So starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 inches wide. And then find the middle point of that, which is at 3. From this middle point where I put my 3, I'll draw the length of it, which is 5 inches. Making sure that it's nice and straight. So we want this to be 5 inches long. And now I'm gonna connect my 2 dots from either side. So the start of my 6 inches and the end of my 6 inches. Here and here. So that'll be the shape of her bandana. Now, if you want it wider, this is the time for you to make some adjustments. Otherwise, let's keep going. So from here, we're gonna add some seam allowance. I'm gonna measure 1/4 of an inch for that 1/4 inch seam allowance and add that to the outside. And so for me, that is just this little line here on this ruler. These are super, super nice. This is just a quilting ruler and it's that easy. That is the pattern. Honestly, 6 inches looks pretty small. So I'm gonna be just laying this on top of her. Yeah. I might go a little bit wider. And this is exactly why it's nice to make a paper pattern first, because at least then we know what we're doing. Go, that is cut out. Now grab your fabric and fold it just enough so that you have enough fabric to cut this out with your seam allowance. Make sure everything is laying out nice and flat. And this is just a really nice fleecy sort of feeling cotton that I got from Fabricland, and I love it. We're gonna place this on the fold, so the long side of it on the fold, the point of the bandana pointing away from the fold. Now you can pin this into place. I'm just gonna use my ruler here to make sure I make a nice straight cut with my roller, but if you're using scissors, I do suggest you pin it into place first. So once you're done cutting, if you open it up, you have a nice bandana. Now the last thing that we're gonna do is just add a little notch in our seam allowance. So you're just gonna cut in about 1/4 of an inch from these little corners. Now we're gonna make the ties, which requires a little bit more math. So what we're gonna do is grab the neck measurement that you got for your pets. So mine was 14, and we're gonna subtract the width that we have for the bandana, which for mine was 8. So 14 minus 8 is 6. Next, we'll grab that number and divide it by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And we're doing that because we're just subtracting the width of this to know how much we need on either side to meet the exact minimum measurement. So I know that each tie has to be minimum of 3 to even touch the other side. And because of that, now we're going to add 6 inches to either side so that we're able to tie it together. So 3 plus 6, which is 9. So each one of my ties will be 9 inches. So now it's time to cut these again. So because I know mine have to be 9 inches, I'm gonna add a little bit of a seam allowance and I'm gonna make them 10 total. I'll measure out where 5 inches is on here. And I'm cutting these on the fold just so that it's easier. You can just make one straight tie, so like full 9 or 10 inches long. I'm just cutting it on the fold so that it's a little bit more precise and even. And I'm gonna be making these ties just 1 inch wide so that once we fold them, they are about 1/2 inch thin. So here's my 5 and here's my other inch. So of course I'm making 2 of these. Here you go. I unfold it and I've got a 10-inch tie, another one for the other side. And that's pretty much all the prep work and cutting that we have to do. Now it's time to take it to the ironing board. Okay, so I actually lied to you. Before you take it to the ironing board, we're gonna work on the ties here. And normally I would feel bad, but so far this is probably the least chaotic tutorial that I've done yet. So I'm allowed to have one little slip up to your sewing machine. We probably could have ironed this and it would have been a little bit easier, but whatever, it's okay. So we're going to fold the tie right sides together. So this is the correct side of the tie. I'm gonna fold it in half lengthwise like this. And I'm gonna just sew along the edge. Make sure you backstitch. And I'm just sewing along the long edge. I'm kind of just going as close as possible to the edge of it. Once I get to the end of it, what I'm gonna do is leave my needle in, turn it like this, and make sure that I give it a good stitching. It essentially looks like this. So I've sewed it quite close to the edge all the way down, as you can see, and then the top part I've sewed shut, and I went over the top part quite a few times, so back stitch, forward stitch, etc. Because we're gonna be flipping this. So if you have a knitting needle, that's real nice. Otherwise, you can also just grab a pencil, or if you have one of those strap turner thingies, you can also do that. I hate turning straps. Once you get it started, it's easy once you turn a strap. Also, this is not the strap turning tutorial, okay? If you need a tutorial on how to turn a strap, go look it up elsewhere, because I definitely am not doing it correctly. I hate doing this, but I do it regardless. All of this to say, repeat with the other strap. There you go. Wooden dowel. That's what worked for me. Once you get it started though, then it's really not so bad. I just hate doing this. Ugh. Once you just get this part on and the end pokes out, you can remove whatever tool you use and then it's good. My wooden dowel, however, had a pointy end, which I do not recommend because it made like a little hole on the side, but that is okay because sewing is not always perfect. And so what I'm gonna do is just fold that in and sew the hole shut because I'm not gonna re-sew this all over again. There you go. Time to iron. Also, just again, like I said, I'm moving out in 2 weeks, so all of these boxes and the whole mess that you see in the back is because I'm moving out in 2 weeks. Better be prepared than not. If you have any tacky glue in your house, now's the time to use it. You don't need this at all though, but you can use it if you want it. So here is our bandana. We can now open this up and fold the edge in. So there's these cut notches that we have on either side from our seam allowance. We're gonna fold this in that 1/4 of an inch that we had from earlier. And you can go on ahead and iron this on right away if you want to. Or if you wanna be a little bit more precise, you can use the tacky glue on the edge here. Ah! Oh my goodness. Okay, remember when I said that this was my childhood home and this tacky glue is probably from like 15 years ago and I don't think that it still works. But what you would do in theory if you were more like organized, I guess, than me, not using old supplies, yeah, that's not gonna work. You would just put a little bit of tacky glue and then fold it and then iron it, but not for me. Not for me today. Anyway, just fold your seam allowance. There you go. And assuming that you have the tacky glue, your edges might actually stick down, but that is okay. Now what we're gonna do is just fold this over. If you need to, grab your scissors and cut more notches in the corners here to make it fold nicer, you can. You're gonna fold this over, and if you'd like to, you can pin it into place. If you are not a freehander living life on the edge like me, we are going to be inserting these straps in the corners like this. But first, while I remember, you're gonna iron your straps nice and flat while we're at the ironing board so that we only have to do this one one time. All right, now we literally only have one final step, and that is to top stitch all the way around. So grab your favorite thread color for this. I honestly think a navy blue would be nice, but I have white right now in my sewing machine and I cannot be bothered to switch it out. So I'm just gonna use my white. Now let me zoom you in. It's nice and folded in my corner, nice and even. And like I said, we're gonna be adding the strap in this corner. And now that it's nice and even like this, again, you could totally pin this, you probably should. We're gonna go ahead and sew that into place. Once you've sewed all the way across where your strap is, we're gonna backstitch that. And that's just to make sure that the strap really does stay secured even if it pulls. Now again, making sure each edge is really nice and aligned. We're just gonna go ahead and sew straight down, as close to the edge as possible. Once you get to the corner, we're gonna lift your foot and turn it so that we can start in the other direction again, making sure that everything is nice and aligned, and sew. Just constantly sort of readjusting. And once I get closer to the edge here, I'm gonna grab my next strap, put it into the corner so that it's a decent way in. That's why we added an extra inch. Nice and sandwiched, and finish this up. And again, back stitch so that it's really nice and secured. Cut your ends on both sides. Ah, this is so messy on this side. What did I do? And you can take this back to the ironing board. Oh my God, this looks like a little thong. You can take this back to the ironing board, but essentially that is exactly it. It is done. I might use my Cricut to print out her name on it, but that's all. And that is it for the tutorial, guys. This is literally so easy to make. You could probably whip up like 10 of these in 2 hours. So if you're someone that does craft fairs or something like that and you're looking for something easy to do, get a Cricut, put some names on it, make them custom or write some cute things. They're a super, super, super easy thing to make, customize, and sell. So that's always a bonus. But if you do try this tutorial and make one, definitely let me know and tag me at HighLevelSylvie on all social media. I would love to see it. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video in my new house. Bye!